All right. All right. I am live. I am live. It's the Dan Show, and I will be back right after this. All right. Yes, I am live. Yes. Oh, yes. It's Friday night, and I get to talk football. How good is that? I apologize, everybody, for not being here last week. Full disclosure, I'm still not 100% over this flu thing. It's not COVID, thank God. And long and short of it, with everything going on in the world today, having some difficulty shaking the flu bug is not that bad of a thing. Not that bad of a thing. I do want to go over my mock draft. You've been following along with my videos. I have picks 1 through 23 in the books. By the time I'm on next week, I may not have the full first round completed, but I'll be very close. I'll be very close. If nothing else, I'll have 1 through 28, maybe 30. I'm going to do the Chiefs 29 and 30. I'm going to do those together. I'm going to share my screen on my website. I changed a little bit on the website, but I'm going to share that with you. I'm going to go over my mock draft. Since I was gone last week, I am going to touch base on 2 issues that happened the week before. And before I do that, I want to talk about the rumors of DK Metcalf on the auction block. There's an ESPN article that talked about multiple mock trade scenarios, and teams have reached out about DK Metcalf. And a lot of times when there's smoke, there's fire. Look what Seattle's doing. I mean, you get rid of their best defensive player, you get rid of their quarterback, and now you got one of the biggest names on the team in DK Metcalf. And I don't know what to think. I really didn't think that they're in full rebuild mode, but they are now. Now it's official. Now it's like 2022 is in the trash. We're going to rebuild. So trading away a guy like DK Metcalf makes a lot of sense. I'm a little disappointed because I didn't really expect this. I don't like when teams do this, but it is what it is. All teams kind of go through a transition period, and this is a time for the Seahawks. I'm still holding a grudge because I remember we're at pick number 63. The Kansas City Chiefs took Juan Thornhill, and DK Metcalf was 64 because DK Metcalf in a Chiefs uniform would be really, really, really cool. But for right now, he's a Seahawk. But I think that when there's smoke, there's fire. And I do think there's some validity to this. And I would be really interested to see if there's a team that's saying, hey, we're going to go ahead and trade for this guy. It'd be an interesting spot. Second thing I want to touch base on is Bruce Arians moving up to the front office, and Todd Bowles taking over as a head coach. Red Sea Dan, what was that? Not sure what you're referring to. Are you talking about DK Metcalf? I was referring to, if you're talking about DK Metcalf, it's an ESPN article. There's rumor about him on the hot seat, or I'm sorry, not on the hot seat, on the trade block. So, but Yeah, I don't know if there's validity to that or not, but I think it's a valid statement. So I think it's a valid statement. So Funk, what is up, man? Hey Funk. Uh so anyway, Funk, if you are curious, I have my phone here. I'm very proud to announce I just um became a platinum member when it comes to Caesars. And if you're a platinum member, when you go to Vegas, you normally have to pay a resort fee. I no longer have to do that. You also get a couple free nights, and there's also some other perks being a diamond member of all the. So if I do go to Vegas to do my over unders, I have an additional perks. I'm right now leaning towards when I make my over under bets. I'm leaning doing that in Iowa, not here in or not in Vegas. I'm leaning doing that in Iowa. That way I can just drive up, drive back, and do it all in one day. But between now and the start of football season, it's 5 months. I bring that up because I do have the app. If you want to talk team over unders, I just have to log in, talk any over under that you want, man. I'm glad to see you today, man. Denver Gator, what's up, brother? What up, peeps, man? Hey, Denver Gator, man. Glad to be here. It's actually funny. I'm going to try to have 1 through 32. I actually have my pick for Denver at 64. I actually have the player for Denver at 64. I'll do a video on Denver. The plan is, I think there's 8 teams that don't pick in the first round, and I want to do, I'll do a video for picks 1 through 32, and then I'll go ahead and I'll do a video for all the other teams that don't have a first round pick. I think I will be able to do that before the draft starts. And then the day before the draft, the Wednesday before, I'm going to do a live stream and do my final first round. And really looking forward to that. Okay, he's referring to this. And Corey, I mispronounce names. So that's just it. That's it. Deal with it. The Todd Bowles getting promoted made me think, what if the NFL didn't make the rule that you need one black person on the offensive coaching staff? Do they with Ugly Aussie? I drew a blank first. Yeah, you know what? I forgot to bring that as one of the things. The NFL does have an issue with this, and I don't think they're really doing it right. I personally don't think that this had an issue. I think that Todd. First of all, let me do this here, and it's kind of a little off topic, but Todd Bowles really got screwed. Okay, really got screwed over with the Jets. I thought it was a really bad deal because he was allowed to rebuild this defense. All right, so he went ahead and he took Jamal Adams in the first round, Marcus Moy or Malfe or whatever in the second round, and they were going to rebuild that defense, have a veteran offense. While they rebuild this young defense from scratch. The very next year, they take a redshirt sophomore out of USC. Great, 8 minutes. I'm drawing a blank. Sam Darnold. Okay, so they take Sam Darnold, and I knew as soon as the Jets traded up, because they traded multiple draft picks. They traded the first and the second to go ahead and get Bowles. So. I knew that this is not going to work. Todd Bowles is a defensive-minded guy, not an offensive-minded guy. And you take a raw but super talented quarterback in Darnold at number 3. I knew that this Todd Bowles wasn't going to survive, and that was a dumb move. Now I get why the Jets did it, because he was my number 1 quarterback, very talented quarterback class, but just didn't work. And I knew it wasn't. So I really thought that he really deserved a head coaching job. Bruce Arians has always had a good relationship with Bowles, and also didn't think that Bruce Arians was going to be the head coach for a very long time. All right, I kind of think like this is something that was in the works for a while. Excuse me, I'm still not 100%. So I'm kind of wondering though how this is going to affect the team, because one thing about Todd Bowles is that when he was trying to build up the Jets, that's when he got shit canned. So is Tampa Bay going to be one of these all-in type of teams every single year, mortgaging draft picks so they can get players? I mean, you got Tom Brady back. He's not the long-term answer. You have a veteran team. I think probably if you went through the age of the team, I think Tampa Bay is probably the oldest team in the league, starter-wise. And that, of course, it's kind of off-kilter because Tom Brady's, I think, 59 now. So – But I think I don't think it really has anything to do with that NFL rule, but it is something I kind of want to address because I'm kind of wondering if, like the Rams, they seem to be all in. That's the other thing I want to talk about is Bobby Wagner going to LA, but it seems like Tampa Bay is going to be like an all in mode. They're always going to go all in, try to win a Super Bowl every single year. I also think they hit a home run with Todd Bowles. Really, really good coach. And I wonder how much the team dynamic is going to change. He's more of a defensive-minded coach. Bruce Arians more aggressive. Are they going to be more of a conservative team? I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. I thought until Bobby Wagner signed with LA that Tampa Bay would have been my Super Bowl pick for the NFC. But and the reason why is I think that they were a better team than LA last year. If they play LA 5 times, I think Tampa Bay wins at least 3, but any given Sunday. So, but that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. But I think it's a good move. I think it's a good move to keep Bruce Arians. Now, keep in mind, Bruce Arians never been a front office guy before, so I'm not really sure what to think. Carl Loftus. Dude, I mispronounce things. I don't give a fuck. So yeah. Brian Leftwich, I remember it, but is it possible the world will hold people like Leftwich back? The answer is yes. Excuse me. I think that this rule will hold people back. And I get what you're saying now, because you have this rule. Does this prevent a guy like Leftwich from going from offensive coordinator to head coach, or will teams say, no, we need you here? I don't think it'll hold Leftwich back particularly, but I don't like the rule, because I think that when you're forced to do something and it's like, okay, we need a person here, that it's going to sabotage the validity, and you may see more of these like scam suits that are coming up. Steve Wilkes joined the lawsuit that Brian Flores set up. And the thing is with Steve Wilkes and Red Sea, you can comment more than I can, but Steve Wilkes did deserve to be fired. He was given a team that no way should have been a 2-14 team. So, excuse me. Hey, Dan, I hate the fact that people are ignoring the fact, by the way, Amazement, what is up, brother, man? I hate the fact people are ignoring the fact that Arians and our office is giving Todd Bowles a chance being a minority and said dogging Arians and saying Brady sabotaged him. As far as the Brady sabotaging Arians, I don't think he did. I don't think he did. And Todd Bowles, by the way, I really thought deserved more of a chance to be a head coach again, just because of the bad situation the Jets put him in. He was put in a terrible situation by the Jets. I mean, he was allowed to build a young defense from scratch, and then you take Darnold the next year, a quarterback who would definitely need development, and Bowles isn't an offensive guy. If he was an offensive guy, then that would have made a lot more sense. But because he's not, then and he's in a great situation. I also like the fact that you have a former head coach going to the front office. There's complete different roles. As a coach, your job is to do everything you can to win now, where a front office personnel is your goal is to try to win 2 to 3 years from now. In other words, you got to manage the salary cap, you have to manage player contracts, you have to do the unfortunate task of taking a player oftentimes in his prime and saying, hey, we're going to move on. For example, you have the unfortunate task here in Kansas City of saying, hey, we can't make Tyreek Hill the highest paid wide receiver, so we have to move on and we have to trade one of the more popular players. Another thing that was hard is that now the rumor is, at least some rumor started in social media. This is local here to Kansas City. You may not have heard this, but the rumor is that Tyrann Mathieu would have accepted the same contract that Justin Reid was given, the Kansas City Chiefs, the new Kansas City Chiefs safety, and that's bullshit. Tyrann Mathieu would not have accepted that contract, not even close. And the reason why it was literally half of what he was making in Kansas City. He signed a 3-year, $42 million deal. We gave Justin Reid a 3-year, $20 million deal. It's half. There's no way he would have accepted that. So, but it's a hard move from the front office. I mean, Tyrann Mathieu, I think, is going to be a Hall of Famer when everything's said and done. Tyreek Hill was a Hall of Fame caliber arc. He still needs to produce this way in Miami, which is going to be interesting to see. But dogging Aaron, saying Brady sabotaged him, I didn't hear about that. But to me, Tampa Bay, up until the Bobby Wagner signing, with Bowles taking over, I really, really believe is that they're the team to beat. And now that Bobby Wagner is with the Rams, I'm kind of going back and forth. But after the draft, we'll see. We'll see. But I don't know. I mean, today, right now, you put a gun to my head. Give me the best team in the NFC? I'm probably saying Tampa Bay. Byron has control of the play call. I don't know. I really don't know, and it'll be interesting. The good news is, and the smart move is that instead of making Leftwich, who's never been a head coach before, instead of making him the head coach, it went with Todd Bowles. The guy does have head coaching experience, and he really got a bad deal with the Jets. I can't emphasize this enough. I really think that this is going to be a smart move. I think the transition will be seamless. Tampa Bay is going to be. If you think the Rams are in better situation than Tampa Bay, I'd get that and I understand, but I'm not really sure which one would be my number one. I think personally Tampa Bay's the best team with as is, whether it's whether it's Todd. All right. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties here. I'm not sure what happened, so I apologize. Arians is looking out for Bowles because he doesn't want him getting a job that would be successful at. Arians retiring didn't surprise me. The timing of it did a little. Yeah. Timing was a little surprising. I didn't think Arians was going to be there for the next 10 years, but timing was a little surprising. Todd Bowles does deserve a job, and it was a great move that if Arians is going to move, you couldn't get a better replacement. Cannot get a better replacement. Timing was a little weird, but the transition will be seamless. Tampa Bay should be, and I think they are. I think they're in a great position to get a Super Bowl. Byron should sue the NFL for getting passed over for a DC guy. Well, yeah, I have no idea if Wilkes thinks that he got a sham job um, or not, but I thought he 100% deserved to get fired. That was my thing. So what I don't like is making teams hire minority coordinators for extra picks, and again, they are trying to insist that black candidates can't get a job on their own merit, making us look inferior. It was rumors that Brady went to a front office guy, says either he go or I go, like he held us hostage, like the whole retirement was a setup. I wasn't aware of that, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't think it was. I'll be honest with you. I think Brady, being at 94 years old, or I don't know. I mean, he's the oldest player in the league, isn't he? And after everything he's been through, I don't think it's. I think losing, man. I think that took a lot because bottom line, I think that they believed that they were a better team than the Rams, and I think they were a better team than the Rams. I think it took a lot out of them. I think that was just hard, man. That was just hard, and I think that him coming back was just, I think Aaron supported it. I think Aaron's understood, and then I think Aaron's, after going through a couple of weeks, said, hey, maybe my body can't handle it. So. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Leftwich and Brady would continue to work together on our offense, and our other assistants will focus on the defense. That Bull's doing most of it. Yeah. Yeah. Tampa Bay. Probably Tampa Bay. When the tentative plan is after the 4th of July to start breaking down the NFL teams. I'm going to do. I did this last year and I really liked it. I'm going to do 3 things I like, 3 things I don't like, and then at the very end, I'll do the Vegas over under, and I'll do the win total, and I'll use the information from Caesar Sportsbooks, and then I'll say at the end, if I think it's going to be over or under, and then I'll announce on the video if I'm going to put action on the team or if I'm leaning towards it. And then before the season starts, any teams I put action on, I'll go ahead and talk about it. And I apologize. My voice is already starting to fade. Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I have no idea what happened, Denver Gator. It was just technical issue. I had to close the stream, reopen it. My router's right next to me. There's nothing wrong with my router, but the StreamYard link said internet connection was down. Brady's older than several head coaches. Yeah. I remember Byron took over as interim and I forgot about that. Yeah, he did take over, if I remember right. And he did a pretty good job while he was the interim there. He will get a chance probably after this year. I'm kind of surprised him and Bowles both didn't get hired. I'm kind of surprised Eric Bieniemy for Kansas City didn't get hired. The rumor is with Eric Bieniemy is he interviews very poorly. And then some people may think that the Andy Reid coaching tree isn't all that good. So I don't know. One Pride 40. Welcome, brother. Busy days in Detroit. All right, that's a good thing. Must be. I'm not on drugs. I'm not on cocaine. So next thing I want to talk about is Bobby Wagner. He was released from Seattle. It goes to LA. And I'm going to say something. Seattle's not a major media market, nor is it known for football. If Bobby Wagner was in New York or Dallas, people would talk about him as being maybe the greatest middle linebacker of all time. He really should be in that conversation. If he was a Pittsburgh Steeler, then excuse me. If he was a Pittsburgh Steeler, there would be conversations about him being one of the greatest middle linebackers ever played. But because he played in Seattle, he's not. He going to the Rams, where he's probably the third best player on that defense, really adds something. Allen Robinson going to the Rams, I think, really is going to help out quite a bit. Now you have Bobby Wagner, top 10 middle linebacker of all time, easily. I seriously, Bobby Wagner should be considered as one of the greatest, if not the greatest middle linebacker of all time. Most people say it's Dick Butkus. I think it's Ray Lewis, and the reason why Ray Lewis played for 20 years, Butkus played for 8. That says it. But Bobby Wagner should be up there, and I don't think he is. Most people think that he's a good. Excuse me. Most people think he's a good player. Most people don't think he's a great player. And that's really unfortunate. Yeah, I'm going to read all the comments. But, yeah, that defense is phenomenal. And then you got Matthew Stafford. You also got Allen Robinson. So when I look at the Rams, I know losing Von Miller to Buffalo was going to hurt a little bit, but it wasn't like an end of the world type of thing. But this is going to be fantastic. This is going to be fantastic. So the Rams are ready to roll. I think Tampa Bay is ready to roll. I think the third best team in the NFC was Green Bay. Now I don't know. We are going on Hard Knock. Oh, really? Oh, my God. You know what? I host a YouTube show that talks about football, and I had no idea Detroit was going on Hard Knocks, and we all hosted that is going to be. Yeah, next year's draft's here in Kansas City, and I told people excuse me, I told people that it'll never come to Kansas City. You'll never see an NFL draft here in Kansas City. We're getting next year. So that's all. I had no idea about the Hard Knocks. I would love to see Detroit Hard Knocks. I would love it. I really would. I love the Hard Knocks. The only one I didn't watch all the episodes was the 2 LA ones, and the reason why, it was going to back and forth, and then it was just all this COVID talk, and I was just like, I don't want to hear anything about COVID. I didn't want to see the testing. I didn't want to hear about the precautions. I just that was the only time. But I can't wait. This will be awesome. Amazement. I don't get the whole interview poorly thing with the enemy, as long as excuse me. As long as the guy knows football is the leader of men, who cares if you as an owner can't relate with him or don't understand? Okay, it's a lot more than that. When you interview for a head coaching spot, it has to do a lot more than just relating the players. There's a lot of things off the field that you have to relate to. Unfortunately, it's a lot of things media related that you have to deal with. And I think that's really what people are worried about. There's a difference between knowing the X's and O's and then being able to relate to building an organization. And that's kind of what I think that they're really worried about. I think as far as being a leader and players relating to him and knowing football, all those things are fine. Is it all the other things that takes to be an NFL head coach? There's a reason why these guys make a lot of money. And being successful doesn't really guarantee you a job. Remember, Jim Harbaugh did pretty well as a San Francisco 49ers head coach, but he kept on clashing with management. Finally, management's like, we're done. So the best part of the offseason to me was hearing rumor that they told HCDC to go back to his room during the owner's meeting. Because he was talking too much. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That sounds awesome, man. That sounds awesome. As long as the guys on the field get him and would run through a brick wall for him, why does it matter how the owner feels too much? It's not like it actually is. It actually is, and that's the thing that most people don't get, is that this is much more like a corporate job being an NFL head coach. Coordinators, position coaches, relating to players, getting them to play hard. Being a head coach, it is like a corporate job. You are managing a multi-billion-dollar business. You are the face of a multi-billion-dollar business. So, yeah. Looks like a Madden team. All right. Oh, okay. The Rams. Yeah. The Rams try and stay on top, and most of the talent this offseason signed with the AFC. Yeah. Right now, today, when I look at the NFC, I think it's a two-team race. I think it's definitely the Rams and it's Tampa Bay. It's just those two. And Green Bay, I think, is taking definitely a step back. It'll be interesting to see what they do in the draft. The Saints got aggressive. And I did a video regarding that trade. And I think the Saints make this trade because they are trying to get a quarterback while they also believe that they're just one player away. The Saints would kind of be like my dark horse in the NFC, because the Saints are a team, if they get hot, watch out, because the Saints still have a top 10 defense. And, Jameis Winston, remember, this is his first overall pick. This is a very talented young man. So, I mean, he could just catch fire. They're not changing a lot with the Saints organization. Basically, they just promoted the defensive coordinator, Pete Carmichael, the offensive coordinator, staying intact. They were 9-8 last year, despite a lot of injuries. I've been kind of a Saints supporter, so watch out for the Saints. I mean, they're a team. Maybe San Francisco's that other team, but I mean, you get a guy in Trey Lance coming in, you can't guarantee that's an upgrade. I also think it's kind of weird Jimmy Garoppolo is still on the team. But, I mean, maybe the 49ers are. But I think it's a two-team race. I think it's the Rams and Tampa Bay above everybody else. And in the AFC, I think the AFC now is pretty wide open. Most people say it's the Bills. I'm going to try to psych myself up that it's the Chiefs. Cincinnati, I think, is on the downslide. Baltimore, they're bringing a bunch of players back. You don't know. Miami's doing a bunch of crazy stuff. Watch out for New England. Tennessee was the number 1 seed. What's going on with them? I haven't done their mock draft yet. I've been telling anybody who'd listen, the Raiders did more than anybody to get better, and the Chargers made some big moves. I think it's kind of funny because last year I felt like it was the Chiefs and the Chiefs and Bills, and then everybody else. This year, AFC. I mean, I could talk about 10 teams making the playoffs. I didn't even mention Cleveland. I can talk about 10 teams making the playoffs. There's only 7 spots, and then the NFC. There's two big dogs in my opinion. If you want to tell me San Francisco is the third big dog, I'd hear it, but I don't see it, so. You didn't know the Lions got Cardinals? No, I didn't. I did not. I really didn't. I apologize, but no. Hard Knocks director season, honestly, and play. I remember a long time ago, Kansas City was on Hard Knocks, and everybody hated it. And the Chiefs went 4-2, or I'm sorry, 4-12. They started off 4-3. Larry Johnson got hurt. There was the big story about Larry Johnson, and everybody hated it. I'll be honest, like as a Chiefs fan, you always want to see your team, but I don't want to see Chiefs do Hard Knocks. I don't want to see. Everybody hated it. So. MCDC, yeah. I can't wait. I didn't know. I really didn't know. I should. Wagner going to Rams is huge. He's been stellar in that division. Oh, dude. Bobby Wagner going to the Rams is massive. I actually immediately put Tampa Bay as my number 1 team in the NFC. And then all of a sudden when Allen Robinson went there, I was like, okay, well, that's pretty good. But when Bobby Wagner went there, I'm like, are the Rams the top team or is it Tampa Bay? But that's a massive move because he goes from being the best player on the Seahawks defense. He's been the best player, I don't know, last 6 years, maybe 5-6 years. I don't know. Now he goes to he's the 3rd best defensive player and he's phenomenal. He was the best player on the Seahawks defense. He's one of the top 5 linebackers. I don't know. Like when the NFL comes out their top 100 list, I don't know where Bobby Wagner's going to be because they didn't go to the playoffs, so probably not be as high or as low, depending on how you look at the number scale. But yeah. Sorry, I'm fading here. The Raiders. I'm telling you right now, the NFL teams that are on Hard Knocks don't like doing it. The Cowboys were on last year and they did fine. NFL teams don't like being on Hard Knocks. They just don't. I have yet to see the Amazon special. I think it was on Amazon, where the Colts were in like mid-season mode and everything. And NFL, from what I've heard, I know that the Chiefs hated it. Everybody hated it. The front office, the players, the coaches, everybody hated it. Amazement, we aren't expecting much out of line. Give me MCDC unedited. Pretty sure that was Winston. I hear you. I'm expecting 7. Okay. 7's fair number. I want to see. I really, really, really want to see what they do in the draft. I really want to see what you're doing in the draft. Winston played a role in it, and okay. Hard Knocks wrecked our season. I remember. Okay, the Tampa Bay Hard Knocks. I remember criticizing Winston because he really came across as immature. And I remember thinking there's no way Peyton Manning or Drew Brees or Aaron Rodgers acts this way. And they focused on Winston, entertaining kid, real immature. And I remember, I really think that hurt him. I really think that he just was trying to be natural and be like himself. Really came across immature. 7 is not much. The one thing I want to see, I really want to see what they do in the draft, because if you draft a quarterback, whether it's at 2 or 32 or one of the high second round picks, 7 is a fair number. Let's do it, Funk. Let's take a look here, because I have no idea what it is off the top of my head. I should have prepared for it. Very proud that I am a Diamond member with Caesars. A bunch of bonuses for being a Caesars Diamond member. And let's take a look here. Regular season wins. Jets, Bears. I have no idea the order that they do this in. I have no clue. So let's take a look at Detroit. All right. And I should have this ready to roll. By the way, after the draft, I am going to put this on my website. 6. The over-under is 6 for Detroit. So 7's fair. 7's what I kind of expect Lions fans to say, but the over-under from Caesar Sportsbook is 6. NCDC saying you don't need an elite quarterback to win consistently. Do I agree with that? No, I do not. Take a look at the last several Super Bowls. You got Tom Brady. You got Patrick Mahomes. You have Tom Brady. You have Nick Foles, but you do need an elite quarterback. And when I say elite, I think you need a top 10. You need a top 10 quarterback. And I think Goff could be a top 10 quarterback. But the thing is with quarterbacks is more than any other position, you need help if you're a quarterback. You can't be a quarterback by yourself. If you think that you can take a shitty team, put an elite quarterback on a shitty team, and they'll all of a sudden turn into a great team, that is not true at all. If you want to tell me at Tampa Bay, as soon as we added Tom Brady, went from 6, there's a bunch of other things that happened. So when I say elite, I think you need a top 10. If you don't have a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, you need to get a top 10 quarterback. The team that Lions had last year, you could take any NFL quarterback. You can take Aaron Rodgers. You can take Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Deshaun Watson, whoever you want to put. You put them on that Lions team, they're not going to the playoffs. Nothing. Can a great quarterback elevate your team? Yes. If you took Aaron Rodgers away from the Green Bay Packers, I honestly think that they're probably a 6, 7, 8 win team. But Aaron Rodgers on the Packers, that's Super Bowl caliber team. I don't agree with that. And I'm going to tell you something. They're lying to you. Don't give me that bullshit. If you really think that they're telling you 100% of the truth, excuse me, they're not. You got to play a game with people in the media. What they're trying to tell you is that we're happy with Goff and we're not going to draft a quarterback, and they could easily draft a quarterback. They're not. They're lying to you. You do need a quarterback. You do need a quarterback. I understand. I'm just curious of what goes into the whole interview process. Yes, NFL coaches, you're like the CEO or of the company or brand. Seems weird. So many people are saying the same about them. And what it is that I would love to know what goes on, because the average NFL interview for a head coach is about 6 to 8 hours. And I've been interviewed several times. I've never had one go over an hour, even when they go good and we're getting along and we're talking. And that's kind of an interview trick, is that you kind of just want to talk to somebody like a person. You want them to like you because, like, hey, we want to hire this guy who's a cool guy. So what goes on, I have no idea. I do know this. Andy Reid, that when he took over as Philly, he was not expected to get that job. He was, I think, like 6th or 7th. It was kind of like a throwaway interview, if you will. And he came with this giant binder, and he had the top 10 position coaches for every single position. And then he had top 10 coordinators that he wanted to hire. And then he had a whole list of things that he wanted to do. And apparently Bill Belichick has this program that he designed, how he runs his team. And you want to have X amount of players that are first 3-year players, and then you have to have X amount of players that are between the age of 25 and 28. And then you have to have X amount of players that are 29 to 32. And then you have X amount of players. And it's very, very complex. The average fan doesn't really understand how much it goes into it. I think, and I'm not, if it sounds like I'm insulting you, I'm definitely not insulting you in Basement. I am so grateful to have a Tampa Bay fan who joins my show. Too many people play fantasy football. Too many people play Madden, and they think it's just about moving the pieces like a chessboard. We're just going to add pieces. It's so much more than that. It's so much more than that. Ah, God, my nose itches. It's not cocaine. The NFC is kind of deserted, and AFC will be good for a long time. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. Yeah. Alex Smith, not elite, but won a lot. Jimmy G is not elite. He'll win a bunch. So no, I don't think you need one to win consistently, but go over top. Okay, that's a good point. If you want to build a team that just wins, you don't need to have an elite quarterback. I'd argue that Alex Smith was not elite, but maybe he was like that bottom 10. All right. Maybe. I mean, that's a lot, but yeah, and Jimmy G, same thing. Kirk Cousins, how good do you think Kirk Cousins is? I know they didn't get to the playoffs, but I think if you really want to win a Super Bowl, you really need a top 10 quarterback. If you're just trying, by the way, and listen, Funk, man, I'm telling you this because I went through it. I'd rather be in the playoffs and lose in the first round than go 2-15 any day of the week. And a lot of Chiefs fans would have argued that, because with Marty Ball, we kept on getting to the playoffs. And we didn't. They didn't do anything. All right, they got to the playoffs, and then they would constantly running out. And a lot of people said, "Man, I'd rather just suck, get the first round pick than we did." And a lot of people are like, "Man, I miss Marty Ball." Yeah, now give me to the playoffs. Just get me to the playoffs, because bottom line, once you get in the playoffs, who knows? Who knows? Oh hell yeah! Yeah. Oh fuck yeah! I planned on watching it no matter what. But if it's Detroit, oh hell yeah! I mean, I can't tell you how much I love having Lions fans coming in here. I mean, I can't Funk every video I've come out with, Funk's had a comment on it, and I can't tell you how much I love it. FYI, if you put a comment on my YouTube video and I don't respond to it, there's a weird thing. Apparently, okay, my YouTube channel set up that every single comment has to be approved before you see it. None of them are approved. They just automatically show up. Some of the comments do get deleted. I am really sorry about that. I have no idea what the hell's going on. So yeah. I don't get it. So okay. All right. Why am I so high on the Pats? I don't see them making the playoffs. They have no real weapons. I don't see Mac Jones having a high ceiling because it's Belichick after. Okay. Great question. Mac Jones, as the season went on, he kept getting better and better and better. They were very hard on Chamarnde Stevenson, that rookie running back. I'm going to tell you something. I watched this kid in college. This guy is special, very special. He missed some blocking assignments. I think he fumbled. They didn't play him. Later in the year, they gave him more and more and more. And he kept getting better and better. This defense is young. This defense is talented. Christian Barmore was a redshirt sophomore. They traded up to get him in the second round. Brilliant move. This guy's going to be a superstar. They made a brilliant move trading Winovich for Mac Brown. He'll be the starting inside linebacker. Great move for this team. And here's another thing is that they got edge rushers galore because remember, they got Winovich, I think, in the third round. Then they went ahead and signed Matthew Judon in the offseason. Judon really took off. They have Josh Uche on the other side who didn't really play that well. Man, I'm watch out for the Patriots, man. Watch out. This is a young, super talented team. Don't sleep on this team. Plus, Mac Jones got better and better and better. And Chamarnde, I think I'm butchering that name. Oh, I'm going to tell you something. 250 and can run. Huge offensive line. Yeah. The AFC is loaded, but the Patriots, I think, are a playoff team. So I think we can overtake the Rams this year. You always know the Super Bowl hangover is real. Teams don't have that same intensity as they did when winning a Super Bowl. That's why repeating is so tough. I think you're the better team. I really do. I think that best of 3, best of 5, Tampa Bay wins. So in my opinion, you need a Burrow-esque or Herbert-esque quarterback to go over the top. Yeah, I think you do too. I'm gonna say something very unpopular. I think Burrow still has some room to improve. I don't think the people that want to say matter of fact, some people say Burrow's already better than Holmes. Like pump your jets, all right. I want to see what he does this year. All right, because remember his rookie year, he had some highlights, he had some lowlights, he got injured. They fixed the offensive line. He's got weapons galore. Does he take the next step, or does he have the sophomore slump? Herbert is, I think, the real deal because I was expecting him to take a step back. He actually took a step forward, but the Chargers weren't as good as everybody said that they were. Well, They kept Mike Williams. Keenan Allen still worth a lot of money. They have Austin Eckler, and they have a really good left tackle at fixed right tackle. But yeah, if you don't, you can give me some examples. You can say Trent Dilfer. You could say Brad Johnson. You could say Nick Foles. But ultimately, it's always been this way since the very beginning of time. You need an elite quarterback. You need an elite quarterback to win a Super Bowl. And I'm going to tell you this right now. What they said that they don't need an elite quarterback, they don't believe that. They're hoping Goff proves them wrong, and if he doesn't, they'll draft one. So it opened at 6.5. Okay, right now it's 6, and after I get finished with the draft, I'm going to put it on my website, and then at the around 4th of July, I'll start breaking down the videos, and I'll break it down. So if it's this number is going to fluctuate. All right, this number is going to fluctuate. I really pay really close attention around preseason, but probably May. Probably around May, we'll dive into it. Let me ask you, how do you feel about 6.5? Are you going to put the action out on your Lions? If you do, right now it's 6. So I would buy. We'll talk more as the season goes on. I have bet on the Chiefs, and I've won, and I've also lost. I normally don't recommend doing it, but if you're dead set thinking that they're going to win 7, I wouldn't bet 6. Normally, I'd like to have a 2-game window, but we'll talk about it. Love to know what you think. What do you think about the Eagles-Saints trade? I think the Saints are probably targeting O-line and a receiver at the first 2 rounders they have now. Very interesting. I did a video on it. Excuse me. I did a video on it, and I think the reason why both these teams made this trade is for quarterbacks, okay? The Saints are going to draft a quarterback. That's the sole reason why they did this. In my mock draft, I have them taking, because I don't do any trades, all right? I have them taking brain freeze, man. Sorry. I have them taking Matt Corral, the Ole Miss quarterback. All right. I have them taking Matt Corral, and then I have them taking Garrett Wilson. All right. And the reason why the Saints made this trade is 100% for a quarterback. Okay. You need to get your guy. If you don't have one, you got to get one. They're going to do that. But they made this trade because they're either going to trade picks for a quarterback or they're going to take one at 16. I think Matt Corral may surprise people and be there at 16. All right. He'll be there at 16. And then you draft somebody like Garrett Wilson to go ahead and help you out. So with the Eagles, they're not sure what they have in Jalen Hurts. All right. He didn't play like he's the top 10 quarterback, but he had two former first round picks. You know, they had Jalen Reagor from 2 years ago. They had Devontae Smith from last year. They moved on from Ertz. So young, talented team makes sense for them, because if Hurts doesn't prove he's the quarterback this year, they will 100% take a quarterback in 2023. So I think the Eagles won the trade because they still have 2 first-round picks this year. They have 2 first-round picks next year. They have a young quarterback that they can say, hey, is this our guy now? Because if not, we're going to draft a quarterback next year. The Saints are 100% going to draft a quarterback. Well, actually, I shouldn't say 100%, but yeah, you don't make a move like this, and you don't give up as much as the Saints did for not getting a quarterback. And you sign Winston to a 2-year deal. If you were set on Jameis Winston being your guy, you lock him up for 4 or 5 years, because look at the quarterback salaries. I mean, they're just going up and up and up. So you don't sign a quarterback that you really want for just 2 years. If you really wanted him, you want to lock him up for at least 4, because you want to keep that salary cap low. So, but yeah, the Saints are definitely drafting a quarterback this year. The The question is, do they want to hold back at 16? And that's not unrealistic. Mac Jones went 15, and Mac Jones would be the number one quarterback in this draft. There's no debate. He would be the number one quarterback in this draft. So I think Matt Corral may be available at 16. Desmond Ridder, who a lot of people are seeing. I've been predicting Desmond Ridder is going to rise up and up and up, and he is. Who's it? Sam Howell, the North Carolina quarterback, he may be available as well. But I don't know who the Saints really like in this draft. To be honest with you, the closest one to Deshaun Watson would be Matt Carroll. And I'm not a big fan of him, but that's kind of what I'm seeing. So that might be the guy that the Saints are targeting. But the reason why the Saints do this is they want a quarterback. Amazement. There's a rumor floating around. New Orleans made a move to move up to the Lions at 2. Here's the deal. I would be shocked. Let's say they want to go up to 2. I would be shocked if before they made the trade that they made with Philly, that they didn't have a trade lined up already. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. There's all right. Look, I'm gonna end the show here in the next couple of minutes. I'm gonna get through as many comments as I can. I'm falling apart here physically, and my stream is not handling it. So I'm gonna skip the draft here. By the time I do next week's show, I'm gonna try to, as hard as I can, have as much. I'm gonna try to have the whole picks knocked out. So I don't like hearing a statement from a head coach saying you don't need an elite quarterback to win big, especially in playoffs when you have to win games in your arm. With your arm against, I agree completely. I didn't hear that comment. I'm going with you guys are saying, but not a good thing to say, and I don't think they believe it either. The question wasn't, do you need one to win a Super Bowl? The question was asked, do you need one to win consistently? Okay. You're right. How many elite? Okay, define elite. I would say elite would be top 5. But do you need one to win consistent? No, you don't. So yeah, okay. But the Cowboys are in the playoffs every year with Dak, and they dominate the East. It's only been like the last 2 years, and Dak, it depends on your definition of elite. I think he's top 10. So. Facts, AFC will be good for a long time because there's so many good QBs who are still young and haven't reached their prime yet. Well, I didn't know that. That's interesting, man. I hate the Saints so much. Saints gave us I've never had this problem before, Corey. So yeah, that might be it, man. Today's game. Yeah. Ramondre. Yeah. I butcher names. Amazement, again, just a rumor. I would love it because I'm not sold on anyone at 2. It also should come with at least next year's second on top of the 2 first. That's the thing. The Saints don't have that. So, they already gave up number 1 next year. So I don't like that. I don't like the Saints giving up anything extra. Stevenson has potential. Liked him in camp. Oh, yeah. Well, drawing a complete blank on the starting running back. They really like this kid. Their current starting running back. He's a top 10 running back. And then when he went down, Stevenson looked better. But yeah, Stevenson, for you fantasy football guys, Stevenson could have a huge year, especially if I don't know if he breaks 1,000 yards, but he could have 15 plus touchdowns. Yeah, I think this year we're having multiple picks is better since there are players in the draft who aren't really can't miss, but they're still good players, just not exceptional talent. Yeah, this is a great year to have multiple picks. And take a player like David Ojabo. If you have multiple picks in the draft, a guy like Ojabo, for example, would be perfect. So not going to play this year, but you get a top 10 player. Jameson Williams, another guy who's still available in my mock draft. This is a top 10 player who won't be available till around mid-season, but tons of potential. Top 5, no. Top 10, yes. It kind of depends what your definition of elite is. I think you need a top 10 quarterback, and Herbert is top 10. So it's not I disagree. I think it's a great draft. I think it's a great draft. It's just that there's not a lot of quarterbacks. If you're the Lions at number 2 and you don't want a quarterback, no, it's not a good draft. So trading down may be a better option this year and keeping a pick and forced to take a player. I think it depends on which team you are. Several teams in this draft I think could actually trade up. And I'm going to spoil this because I haven't come out the video yet. Tampa Bay's a team I think they could trade up. So are my Kansas City Chiefs. There are so many teams that open at 10. That's standard. I'm thinking putting a little on it. Not sure if it's 5.5. I might have to. That's what I would do. I don't know the options that you have there, and I meant to look in on it, and I never did. If you use the Caesar Sportsbook, talk to me before you do anything. But if it drops to 5.5, that'd be fair. All right, let's say you have a budget of $1,000 that you're going to use to bet on over-unders for the year. I would say your maximum on the Lions should be 200. Put a very, very small amount. Core minus, no idea what you're saying. So are you saying Herbert's better? Yes, I am. I want to see more from Burrow, but is Herbert better than Burrow? I think so. I think if we were just lining up quarterbacks on a playground, just old school, and I'd choose between Herbert and Burrow, I would take Herbert. Yeah. Small. I like Herbert better. I think the Saints want Willis. They could. Again, I have. I'm not really sure, but. I don't know where you'd have to get up for Willis because here's what I think is going to happen in the draft. I think Carolina's going to trade with Detroit. All right. I think Carolina's going to take Pickett. The question is, where do you have to trade to in order to take Willis? Because I think he'll come later. Where do you have to get to? Because I think Atlanta wants Willis. Atlanta picks at 8. So I think the next trade partner would be the Jets at 4. So, yeah, our schedule is tough because we play a first place schedule. But if we can sweep or go 5-1 in our division, all we have to do is at least split the rest of the game so we can get the 13 wins. Getting to the playoffs will not be a problem for Tampa Bay. The only question is how do you play with the big dogs? Corey, you know what? I actually have Google Fiber, and normally it is fantastic. And I've never had a problem with StreamYard, but there's a tab for having issues. I'm going to report that as soon as I end the live stream. I'm going to end the live stream here in a few minutes. So, and I apologize. By the way, even though I'm butchering the name, how do you like Karlaftis? How do you like Karlaftis going to Arizona at 23? I'd love to know your opinion. I should have hit you up, and I apologize. I didn't. Pride in the stage of their career, I take Herbert. God, we agreeing on stuff again, Funk? How weird is that, man? If somebody wants bad enough to make the move, I think your team is a Willis way. You pull the trigger, scared money, don't win. I agree with that. Willis is a guy, though, I think has to sit. With Carolina, you could take Pickett. I think Carolina believes that Pickett would be a day one starter. I think whoever drafts Willis knows that he has to sit for a little bit. I forgot what. Yeah. Washington made a desperate. I think Washington made a desperate move. Dude, just get over it. I fucking mispronounce things. All right. So fucking what? The draft is deep. It doesn't have elite top end and talent. Lloyd to me would just be impactful as anyone you can get it to. That's a guy that I absolutely love. That's a guy I am too. That injury may hurt Coral's stock, but maybe a blessing in disguise. And he may go to a better franchise and situation not being. Yeah, I think going to awesome. The injury may have hurt Carl Scott, maybe a blessing in disguise. Yeah, because I haven't watched the whole game of this, and I was so looking forward to it. And I think the bowl game hurt. And here's the thing that bothered me. He looks small. I think he's listed at like 6'2", 210. He looks smaller than that. And I'm like, man, that guy is not going to last in the NFL. He's just not. You can't be that small and last in the NFL. And then what happens in the bowl game? He gets hurt right away. I think it's going to kill his draft stock because I think that more and more people are talking about him being the number one quarterback. And I didn't buy it, but I kept on hearing it over and over and over again. I'll be honest, if the Saints like this kid, I think they take him at 16, and I think he'll be there. If they want Willis, they're going to need to trade up because he's not getting past Atlanta at 8. So, New Orleans is desperately in love with the quarterback. They're going to want to at least get ahead of Carolina in 5. So 5. The magic number I think is 4, and the reason why I say that's the Jets pick at 4, and I think the Jets want to trade down. So. The good old I don't know, man. I'm actually going to end this up unless anybody has something. I'm going to wrap up. There's some tabs for having issues and problems. I apologize everyone in advance. Also, my body is not responding super well. Next week, hopefully I'll be 100% recovered and I will do everything humanly possible to fix the Wi-Fi issue. So I apologize. I don't think it's a Wi-Fi issue. I have Google Fiber. Google Fiber is fantastic. I think it's an issue with StreamYard. In my opinion, Coral's the best quarterback in the draft. Wow. Okay. I love Desmond Ridder. He's actually my favorite. I didn't have a chance to watch a ton of Pickett, Willis, or Coral. But Coral, man, that size really bugs me. And I was all excited about watching him play in the bowl game. What happens if he gets hurt? If you draft a guy like Coral, and this is why I like him to the Saints, he sits for one full year. He puts on the NFL 20, and it works perfect. Pickett, ultimately, I'm telling you this right now. I think he's going to go second to Carolina. I don't do trades in my mock, but I think he goes second. And then I think Atlanta will end up with Willis. The question is, are they going to play hardball and go 8, or are they going to trade up? I think they trade up. I really do. I think they trade up. And the number, I think, is 4. Because I think the Jets, they picked it 4 and 10. And I think the Jets really want to get out of 4. Wait, did I just say yes? He's my favorite. He's not the best. He's not the best, but I love Desmond Ridder. He is my favorite. I love Desmond Ridder. He's my favorite quarterback in the draft. I'm not saying he's the best quarterback. I didn't watch as much. I say this every year. I don't watch as much college football as I would really like to. I don't have a good grasp on the quarterbacks, but of all the quarterbacks, Ridder is my favorite. Is he my best? Is he the guy I'd want to draft? No, he's not. If I needed a franchise quarterback, I would actually wait till next year. I would wait till 2023. Is Ridder my favorite quarterback? Yeah. And to tell you the truth, if I'm the Saints, even though I have the Saints taking Matt Corral, if I'm the Saints, I would take Ridder. I would take Ridder. I love this guy. I love everything about him. He ran a 4.5 at the combine. He's more athletic. He's got a better arm. I love his coolness. I love his calmness. I love his demeanor. I love the fact that he won a lot. I love the fact that he played a lot. I love the fact that he's got an NFL body, unlike Coral. Coral, I don't think can last in the NFL. I think at the combine, Ridder was 211, 212, something like that. He's got the frame to put on 20 pounds. With Pickett, Baby Hands McGee. The small hands bothers me. I'm sorry. I know it's minor. I know it's small. I know he played fantastic. I know he can run. He's got a great arm. Small hands bothers me. Willis, bottom line, I didn't see anything that makes me think that this is a franchise quarterback. Some great highlight films. Needs a lot of work. No way will play this year. A guy like Ritter, I would love. If I'm a team, if I'm the Detroit Lions, I would love for the Lions to pick him at 32 if I'm a Lions fan. What the fuck's going on, fuck? Okay. All right. Coral just needs to learn to stay in the pocket. Yeah. And that's not his game. That's not his game. That's not what he did in college. I don't think that's what's going to happen in the pros. And I'm going to wrap up here due to issues with the stream and issues with my body. I'm going to do everything humanly possible to try to get videos 24 through 32 out. More than likely, I won't get all of them out. I'm going to do my best because I'm going to do Kansas City 29 and 30. I'm going to do those together. So I'm going to try to get my full first round mock completed by the time next live stream comes around. There's some tabs for fixing issues. I never had to use it. I've had StreamYard for several years. Luke G turned me onto it, as a matter of fact. And I've never had any problems. Never had any problems until today. So I apologize to everybody in advance. But listen, before I get off here, man, give me a thumbs up. Drop a comment below. It really helps the algorithm, helps me out. Thanks everybody for joining the show. I apologize for the issues. I'm going to try to have my full first round mock done by next show. So I'll see you guys next week.